Hey everyone, this is a 2020 Genesis G90. This is a flagship luxury sedan from the Genesis marque. And in this video, I'm going to show you through all the really cool features and talk to you about why you should care about this new flagship model. Genesis is a relatively new name here in the United States, and they started out as a model under the Hyundai brand. But Genesis is branching out and building their own bespoke luxury models to compete with Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. The G90 here competes with vehicles like the S-Class, the BMW 7 Series, and the Audi A8. And there are some very cool things here on the outside. My favorite outside feature on the Genesis has to be these headlights. I love this LED light signature that kind of slices the main beam down the middle like a knife's edge. And we of course have to talk about these wheels, which in my opinion are the most beautiful of any new luxury car. And surprisingly, even as complex as this design are, they're only 19 inches in diameter, which means they're a little bit smaller than like a 20, 21, or 22. This should give the Genesis G90 a nice, soft, and compliant ride. But we won't know till later because driving impressions on this new vehicle are embargoed till later this week. Go over to tflcar.com though, because I'm going to have a full review coming soon. In the rear here, you'll see this pretty cool taillight design that's kind of reminiscent of a Lincoln or even a Porsche 911. And what I mean by that is there is one horizontal LED bar that extends across the entire rear of the vehicle. Now, as much as I like that horizontal bar, I'm not a huge fan of these taillights in general. I think they look just a little bit frumpy. But by far the biggest and most bold feature of the Genesis is this grille. It's got this diamond-like texture and even diamond-like shape. But is it too big? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Alright then, the time you've been waiting for. Let's take a look at the inside of the new Genesis and see some of the cool things that this car has to offer. First and foremost, I love these floor mats. They are super thick and super plush. Almost like something you'd find on a new Rolls-Royce. Not quite that dense, but very soft and very premium feeling. To start the Genesis, as long as the key here is in the vehicle, you simply put your foot on the brake and then of course hit the start button and the car roars to life. The overall interior design here is very elegant. I like this 4-spoke wheel and it's surprisingly thick and sporty, and it even incorporates paddle shifters there on the back. Now the rest of the interior is covered in wood with hints of silver accents. So here across the dash we have wood with silver. Here in the center console, of course, wood with some more silver, and then leather on absolutely everything, even places you wouldn't expect, like here in the center console, it's all lined in leather. I do like this line of stitching there across the dash. I think that looks very premium, and the seats are extremely comfortable. And I love this kind of diamond stitching there in the center. Let me know what you think. This is really becoming more popular, this kind of dark brown or black on lighter browns. We're seeing a lot more of this in the automotive industry, and it's a trend I have to say I'm beginning to like more and more. To control the infotainment system here in the Genesis, first and foremost, I have this little knob, and it twists, and I can push down and select these various panels as they pop up. But for 2020, I can now also use the screen as a touch screen. And there you can see our climate, which is pretty cool. I've got 3 individual climate zones: driver, passenger, and rear. And I love how you can even see the interior of the vehicle through that display. Down here, I also have controls for 3-position heated seats, 3-position ventilated seats, 2-position heated steering wheel, which is something I'm not sure I've ever seen before, a 2-position heated steering wheel. And then this button right here opens and closes the rear sunshade. One of my favorite design aspects here in the interior is the shifter in the Genesis. I think it really is a beautiful design, very elegant. I have a button for park, then I pull back for drive, one more click up for neutral, and then I push and hold the button for reverse. And when I do that, of course, the reverse and 360 camera pops up, but the rear sunshade folds down as well. And when I put it back into park or drive or whatever position, check this out. The rear sunshade goes back up. And the reason for that is when you're backing up, you want the most visibility possible from the rear. This is a cool touch here as well. This is the wireless charger. It's this little cubby. I push it and open it, and it's the perfect size for a smartphone, and that's because this is a tray for your wireless charger. Now I have an iPhone 8 Plus, and with the case on, unfortunately, it's just a little bit too tight of a squeeze to fit in there. But once I take the case off, place it in there, and it will actually start charging, and there you can see the Qi wireless charger is activated. Of course, further down, you'll see a USB port, and then if we move a little bit further back, cup holders. Now with my 8 Plus in there, I can't quite reclose the cubby, but if your phone was a little bit smaller, you could close it away completely. This car's party trick, however, is back in the rear seat. First of all, take a look at the size of this rear door. One of the longest I have seen in a while, which won't be brilliant in tight parking spaces, but it does mean getting into the back seat is super easy. And look at the room back here. This seat right here is adjusted for my driving position. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall. And look at that. I can almost spread out completely back here. Incredible. Now, take a look at these little buttons down here. If you sit behind the passenger, you can actually recline that front seat forward for even more rear seat legroom if you sit on the right side of the vehicle. Once again, same super soft carpets and the center armrest. Now you'll see this car seats 5, but when I fold this center armrest down, we've got a plethora of buttons here, and these control all sorts of different things. So first of all, check this out. Using this little controller, I can actually control what's going on there, and that is all done back here through this little control panel. Of course, separate climate zone. And you can see here, I can move the seat using just that little button there. I love that feature. Of course, heated rear seats as well. Now this particular model is not equipped with it, but you can spec your Genesis with little screens back here for both the back of the front driver and passenger seats, which pretty much duplicate that front screen back here so you can see your navigation and adjust settings all from the rear. I do also like these little hooks back here. Very classy, very nice little way to hold up your dry cleaning. Now check this out. I even have that same button in the rear for the rear sunshade. How cool is that? But it goes further than that, because if you look right here, I have 2 switches instead of 1 for the window, and that's because from the passenger side, I can actually control both windows up and down. Same thing over here on the driver's rear. But if I do a gentle tap up, oh yeah, I've got a shade that extends, and even a little mini shade for this quarter window. So I've got the maximum amount of shade possible in the cabin. How cool is that? And down here where you might expect an ashtray, you'll find 2 12-volt 180 watt outlets, which in my opinion is much more useful and relevant than an ashtray these days. To pop the trunk of the Genesis, you simply push a little button there and up it goes, and you can see for reference with my camera bag just how, ready for this, cavernous that trunk is. It is absolutely massive. I do love these little hold down nets so you can keep things secure, and you'll see even here a fuel filler release in case you need to get to your fuel filler over here, for example, if your battery is dead. And you'll see even Korean lettering, and that's because of course Genesis is a Korean brand after all. But so much trunk space. I love these little chromed hooks down here, very elegant, and even your first aid kit incorporated into the side. Then to close the trunk, simply push that button and it glides down so quietly. There are 2 engine options here for the Genesis G90, a 3.3 liter turbocharged V6 or a 5 liter V8. The V8 develops over 420 horsepower. So this G90 has some of the coolest turn signals in the industry. Not only does that LED light pattern turn into the signal up front, but you've got this strip down the side, and in the rear you have, get this, dual strips. I think that is just so cool. I also love these jewel-like dome lights here in the rear. Take a look at how they just glow on gently. And they're actually brighter than they look. If you look at it from some angles, it looks like they're barely illuminated, but dead on, you can see they actually develop a fair amount of light. This new G90 has one of my favorite new car features. Check that out. Oh yeah, soft closed doors. Gotta love a nice set of soft closed doors. So there you have it, your first POV look at the Genesis G90. Now Genesis hasn't yet announced pricing for the 2020 model, but they did say it should be available sometime this month. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this new full-sized uber luxury monster, and head back over to tflcar.com for the latest and greatest in new car reviews.